Gravity. Can we recreate it? Can the human body survive without this invisible force that gives us weight and perpetually pulls us down towards the Earth? Can technology one day create an artificial gravity-like effect, as they do in science fiction movies like Star Wars and Star Trek? Gravity is by itself a game-changing problem that will limit our dreams and ambitions of ever conquering space and colonizing other planets. In fact, it will make it impossible. On Earth, gravity literally holds our bodies together, shaping everything from how our muscles grow, how our bones stay strong, to the functioning of our cardiovascular system. Put us in the weightlessness of space and the human body slowly falls apart. It may be invisible to our eyes, but the devastating effects of microgravity on our bodies will eventually kill us. Astronauts who spend a few months in orbit around the Earth lose muscle mass, suffer from weakened bones as if they've aged decades, and have hearts that have changed their shape. Blood shifts to the head, their eyesight worsens, and their immune system begins to fail. That's only a small slice of what happens to the human body while living in microgravity on the International Space Station, where crews enjoy the safety of a quick trip back to Earth if needed. Imagine what would happen to a human body if you're going to Mars on a year-long journey to the planet, living in deep outer space for months at a time. And when you get there, you can only hope that your body will somehow adjust to the low gravity of Mars. Gravity, that is only 38% of that on Earth. This isn't an inconvenience, it's a death sentence. The obvious question becomes, can we create artificial gravity? To reproduce the kind of gravitational pull a planet produces, you'd need something with enormous mass, far beyond anything we could ever build. Even the Death Star in Star Wars, which had a diameter of 100 miles, would only provide 0.1% of Earth's gravity. If the idea was to simulate gravity by building an enormous spaceship, the outcome wouldn't end well. Magical gravity generators do not exist, like they do in Hollywood. But we do know one reliable trick to mimic the effects: spin. If you rotate a spacecraft or part of it fast enough, centrifugal force pushes everything inside toward the outer edge. It's not real gravity, but it feels and acts in a very similar way. This idea, called centrifugal, is a kind of artificial gravity that has been around since the early days of science fiction. In theory, it could keep human bodies healthy on long voyages, but there are massive barriers that would prove incredibly hard to overcome. To make a spacecraft large enough to create a smooth, Earth-like pull, you'd need a massive structure. Smaller rotating sections would create weird side effects such as motion sickness and disorientation. This is because your inner ear would constantly fight against the changing forces. The Hermes spacecraft in The Martian, starring Matt Damon, realistically depicted artificial gravity through rotation, but its size and spin speed weren't even close to being accurate for generating a true 1G environment. Imagine this. A spin rate of 2 revolutions per minute would produce a comfortable rotation speed that is unlikely to cause motion sickness. But the length of the arm or radius must be 224 meters or about 735 feet. If you spin faster at 4 revolutions per minute, you still need a radius of about 56 meters or 185 feet. These are massive structures that would need to be built in space. Trying to build something that big with enough spin, without having it fall apart under stress, would be an engineering nightmare. It would cost trillions upon trillions of dollars just to transport that much material into space, and we haven't even touched on the cost of trying to build it. While it's possible on paper, it's far from practical given the amount of materials required and the level of technology we have today, or even in the foreseeable future. What about trying to create actual gravity waves? These are ripples in space-time caused by huge cosmic events, like colliding black holes. In theory, if you could generate gravity waves, you might be able to bend space-time in a local setting to create a real gravitational field. But there's a huge problem. It would take an astronomical amount of energy and mass to produce even the tiniest detectable gravitational wave. We've only just learned how to measure these waves using equipment so sensitive it can detect distortions smaller than a fraction of an atom. Trying to create them would be like trying to shake the entire universe with a pebble. Based on everything we know, the concept of creating gravity waves as a solution is utterly beyond our reach and is most likely impossible. There have been experiments with electromagnetic fields in an attempt to create an artificial source of gravity. The idea is to trick the body into thinking it's in a gravitational environment, but so far it hasn't worked to any measurable degree of significance. The reality is, gravity isn't a force we can just replicate with magnets or machines. We still don't fully understand what gravity even is. We know it's the weakest of the known forces in physics, but yet it dominates the universe. Until we can figure out how to manipulate it at its source, true artificial gravity will stay out of reach. But even partial gravity at the level of Mars would make a huge difference on human health compared to complete weightlessness. But the challenge is scaling it up and making it safe. Even the most reliable machines we have built break down. It would be nonsensical to believe that we could build a spaceship with rotating sections that would last on a perpetual basis. We can't even build a car or a vacuum cleaner with the sort of reliability needed for interplanetary space travel. The brutal fact is, recreating gravity like we see on the USS Enterprise in Star Trek is simply impossible. At least not in the way we experience it on Earth. We can mimic it with motion, but we can't bend space-time on demand, and there is no evidence that the concept is even possible. Generating gravity waves is so far beyond our technology that we may as well just call it magic. Perhaps one day we may crack the code of gravity through a deeper understanding of quantum physics, or some new theory that we haven't discovered yet. And it may also be that the universe does not allow for the recreation of gravity within small local systems. Despite all of our technological advances, we are still prisoners on Earth because of this one vital invisible force that allows our bodies to function. If humanity wants to live among the stars for more than just short visits, solving the gravity problem isn't optional, it's a must. It will be the difference between surviving or slowly wasting away to an eventual death